Hey there, this is Molly, and I'm going to do a video for you about how to open up to more of your creative process. How to feel good about being in your creative space, your creative flow, trusting your writing, trusting your process, and productive ways to do that. And I think this is a really important topic because there's been a lot of advice out there for years about how to write, how to be effective and focused with your writing, whether that is a structured part of your day, say it's 2 hours every day or it's 8 hours every day, or focusing on a minimum number of words, get that target word count every day, every week. All this advice that is useful and it can work, but I have to tell you something. I've been writing for almost 10 years and none of that conventional advice has really worked for me. It hasn't been where I have found focused or where I have found flow in my writing. Instead, I've developed another way to write that's really supported who I am and the joy of writing, the excitement, the inspiration, the fact that it's something I want to be doing instead of feeling it's pressured or it's forced or I have to struggle with it. I decided long ago that's not how I want to create. That's not the space I really want to be in. So what I want to share with you here today are what I have in the works, all the books I have going on, and some of the secrets that I've used that really help me be accepting of my process, to be trusting, to be confident, and to enjoy it. Now, all of us have our own unique take on the creative process and how we enjoy it. And I offer this to you with the hopes that it opens you up to where you can find more of that joy for yourself. So I'm going to go back and forth here between these two sides of the board. And I'm going to start by telling you that I'm about to finish my 12th book. But I want to give you some insights on that because as you can see here, I have 16 books that are in various stages. 11 are already out there. The 12th one is coming out the end of January 2018. But my process is non-linear. And that's one of the first points I want to make for you is that reading, the experience for the reader is linear. But the experience for the writer can be non-linear. You don't have to do things in a certain order unless that's what works for you. You're going to find here that I am very non-linear in my writing process and in my creation process. So let me give you some information about that and how it's worked for me. So the 12th book that's coming out, I started writing that in 2014. And then I didn't touch it for a few years. I came back to it in late 2017. That's when I had the book cover design completed. And that's when I realized I'm ready to take this one to the finish line. So that book started in 2014 and I didn't touch it for years. And then it was ready. The 13th book that I have on my computer, I don't know when this one's coming out. Maybe late 2018. It's another memoir, and I started writing that one in 2009. And I've been writing it off and on since 2009. There are times when I have something to say about that story and what's in there, and there's times when I have nothing to say, and I have no inspiration and no flow. The book cover is not done. The book cover is something I'm still visualizing and thinking about what I want it to feel like, what I want it to look like. So the book cover is not done. But this is one that has been on and off for about 9 years now. And with this memoir, I've had to sit with it and let some things marinate. And some books require that from you. They require more of that time where it's in your head before it's on the paper. I still consider that writing. I still consider the times when you marinate and you think about something, whether it's a theme, a message, anything you want to put down, I still consider that part of the writing process. You don't have to be sitting at a computer and typing away on the keys to be engaged in a writing process. So the 13th book, I don't know when it's coming out, maybe late 2018, who knows? The 14th book, this is one about energy and spirituality stuff that I started writing in 2011. And I didn't work on it for 6 years. 6 years. But the book cover is done. I love the book cover. And this one, it comes and goes with the inspiration on what I want to say. And because the book cover is done, it helps me visualize that one being complete. I'll actually tell you that this book is about 90% complete. And I'm not excited about it. So I'm not forcing it. And I'm just letting it sit on the sidelines until I feel energized about it, until I want to take the last 10% to the finish line. I've realized that when a book is almost done but not quite done, that something has to change or I need to add more to it. There's something about it that I just need to trust that it's coming together. And I'm not going to force it to be done. So that's that book. 15th book is about relationships. The book cover is done, and I'm so in love with this book cover. I just think it's beautiful, and it motivates me to look at the book cover. This book, I started writing in 2017. It is fully outlined. There's parts of it that have to be developed and more things I need to add in to make it truly a book. But in terms of the planning process, it's all done. I didn't touch it for, say, 4 months, but it's one that I actually feel really excited about. I don't know when that one will be released, but it has a very different energy than this book or this book. And then the 16th book here, it's a spiritual guide, and it's one I started writing in 2016. The book cover is done. It's actually, this one's related to another bigger project, so I need them both to be completed before they're done and released. So maybe that will be 2019. I don't know. Maybe 2020. Maybe. But what I do here is I keep it open. And I think of it as a tree with multiple pieces of fruit. And sometimes you want the low-hanging fruit, and other times you want a certain type, okay? So I don't put pressure on myself in my writing process. I keep it open. I trust where I feel interested, motivated, where I have something to say, where I have something that comes together clearly here, so it's clear when I type it out. So all of this leads me to part of my writing process. So obviously, yes, I have multiple projects going on, but it's not just writing projects. I do different types of classes and I work with clients one-on-one. In other words, I have other revenue streams. That's important. It's not only my books. So that alleviates some of the pressure to write, because there are authors out there who are creating 3 books a year because it's part of their main revenue. When you have the ability to choose, that makes a difference in where you can invest your energy. So I have the luxury to choose. I work with target due dates, not hard due dates. And here's an example. In 2015, I've had this process going on for years now where I have all these different books in different stages. In 2015, I released 3 books. One of them I completed in a month. Another one I had started in 2009 and finally released in 2015. Another one I had been working on for 3 years, and I had that one released in 2015. It was like there was a synergy of lineup between the books that were ready to go and ready to be done. And the other important factor was that in 2015 I was pregnant, so I had a hard due date of August, before the baby came. So that was a motivation. So I was able to use these target due dates to get a bunch of books done, which was motivating. And they had been germinating, like these ones, for some time. So again, your writing process doesn't have to be linear. It can be open. Now, depending on the kind of writing you do, well, that will affect, what books you're working on. For writers who do series, you might have an idea of what your third book in the series needs to include or where you want to go with the story. And you might feel drawn to work on that third book before the second book or before the first book. It's a different requirement because clearly you need to have books 1 and 2 done before you release book 3. But what I want to offer you is how staying open allows more flow, allows more ease. And again, this goes here to my next point, which is about following your interest, following your energy. Where do you have something to say? Where does it feel right? Where are you ready to express something? I trust this, and then I do not have writer's block because I can focus on something else if I feel blocked. For example, this book that it's 90% done and I'm not really into it. I am just letting it sit. I'm not forcing it. I'm not going to have writer's block around it. I'll get to it when I get to it. That right there alleviates a lot of pressure. And when we're in that space of wanting to get something done, we have to give ourselves the space it takes to be kind to ourselves. I think that when we are in our creative element, being open, being trusting, and enjoying ourselves is so paramount. I decided a long time ago with my creative process that I'm not going to struggle against myself. Where's the fun in that? Where's the joy in that? Where's that's not what I want the experience to be. That's also not what I want my life to be. So how you create and how you express is another way that we live our lives. And so what do you want that to be for yourself? What do you want that to look like? It goes here to this open, trusting, happy, feminine energy. And again, that whole not being hard on myself anymore. Because I was for years. I started writing in 2008 and I got 80% done and I struggled with the last 20% of the book. I didn't touch it for years and I was really hard on myself. And after I published that first book and I got some momentum going and I understood more about my process and what worked for me, I really had to make that personal declaration that I'm not going to struggle with this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to live that way. And that has really worked for me to have that sense of not just enjoyment, but power over your own creative process and what you need and where you feel excited about what you create and offer and share. And so then obviously my last point here, continual ideas in motion. Yeah, you think? Continual ideas in motion. And so I keep track of all these books. There'll be times when I get a case study to add or a fact or information or an analogy or a theme. And I go to that document or that folder in my computer and I keep adding to it. So all of these to me are alive and breathing, even if they are not, there's no hard due date. There's nothing I'm going to force. I'm just letting them lead the way and enjoying it in the process. Like I said, this 12th book is coming out. Great. The next book, I would love to have this one come out in 2018. And I don't even want to create expectations. So what I do is when it gets to that point where the book is almost done and I'm inspired, I basically take it to the finish line. And that's what happened with this one. The one I started writing in 2014, and it's okay for me to let things sit. Let it sit. Don't worry about it. It'll be there. There's also times when I have not written for months. And that's okay too. So this is what works for me. I realize that for some people, this could be too much going on. Find what works for you. Maybe it's 2 projects that you come back and forth to. Go to that. But I guess I want to give you the understanding that it's okay to do whatever you need to do. And you don't have to follow conventional advice if it doesn't work for you, if it's not who you are. Because your creative process is based on who you are. And you should feel good about that, and you should feel inspired about that, and you shouldn't struggle with yourself excessively. There's, of course, times when we do, but you shouldn't do so excessively. So I hope this gives you some things to consider, potentially to integrate and to use in your own process. But I just wanted to offer you a bit more, pull back the curtains on my own process here, because again, it's meant to be something you enjoy. It's meant to be something that works for you. And I hope that that really guides you, that that is really where you feel inspired, is to just trust what is right for you. So thank you for watching this video. I'll be back with more very soon, and I hope I can inspire you further. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.